Now, because of the pandemic, during 2021, a number of services, it wasn't just Warner Brothers, a number of services decided to experiment with the day and date release model. That the same day we put something out in movie theaters will be the same day we put it up on a streaming service. Warner Brothers had catastrophic, disastrous results, losing hundreds of millions of dollars. But they may not have been the only one. Disney also decided to experiment with it a little bit. Like, they didn't go all out saying, we're going to do this with all of our movies in 2021. They would have lost billions of dollars had they done that. But they decided, we're going to experiment with a couple. You know, Ryan the Last Dragon, maybe a little bit of Cruella. But one of the ones they decided to do with, the highest profile one that they decided to do it with, was Black Widow, which, number one, cost them hundreds of millions of dollars that they had to pay Scarlett Johansson because of a little lawsuit they got involved in over that. But apparently they lost, according to reports, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of other dollars due to piracy. Now, this comes to us from the folks over at Joe Blow, who are basically giving us a report. Now, one of the big concerns a lot of people brought up with the idea of day and date is that, well, there's instantly a full high 4K quality copy of the movie that everybody just get, and they can just put it on the torrent sites and pirate sites and everything everybody see. Apparently that's what happened. Anyway, this comes to us from Joe Blow, who writes the following. The day and date, I love this. The day and date release of Disney Marvel's Black Widow is probably one of the most controversial releases in 2021. The decision to debut the film in theaters and streaming simultaneously via an added fee for their Disney Plus platform led to reports of muted box office and a lawsuit between Disney and the film star Scarlett Johansson, which we've already talked about. The movie also left the film open to pirating, and as Deadline reports, it cost Disney a pretty penny, and if these numbers are to be believed, per Deadline, it's claimed that Black Widow was pirated on torrent sites by more than 20 million viewers, which translated to $60 million worth of views. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is this. I don't know what kind of math Deadline is using there. If they say the movie was pirated 20 million times, the average movie ticket cost in North America is $10. So by my math, that is still a horrible, but nowhere near as bad. That's a $200 million. Now, what I'm guessing they're doing those calculations on is based on that you had to be, if you wanted to watch it on Disney Plus, you had to pay an additional $30 fee. So that's what they're probably doing the math by. That if all of those people who pirated the movie would have bought it on Disney Plus, and by the way, you're not buying it, you're renting it. You're renting it for $30. Rented it out for on Disney Plus, then that would have equated $600 million. Obviously, a lot of those people maybe would have gone to the movie theaters instead, which would have been only $10 hit. Maybe some of them wouldn't have watched Black Widow at all, but hey, I can watch it for free. I'll just do it that way. At any rate, they lost a lot of money as a result of this. Now, because look, I know a lot of people who in principle, won't watch pirated stuff because it's crap. It's normally somebody's cell phone in the thing and it's shaking and the audio sucks. You can hear the guy sitting behind him eating popcorn. And yes, the coffee.
Shut up, sit down.
All that kind of stuff, right? It's crap. And I know a number of people who are like, I'm not going to watch that crap. But a full clean, somebody with Disney Plus gets a full clean 4K capture of it and puts it on torrent sites and away it goes. Now listen, Black Widow's not the first movie to report this. There are a number of the other films that came out too that there was a lot of heavy piracy. And of course we were, and a lot of fans expected that. The thing is, $600 million it was not. It was not $600 million. All right. If it had 20 million piracies, not all of those 20 million people were going to buy it $30 on Disney Plus for 600 million. I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb and guess they probably lost closer to maybe 300 million, 200, which is still terrible, which is still absolutely terrible. But it is one of the new kind of problems they're going to have to face moving forward. I know, Kim, you heard this number, they're saying 600. I don't believe for a second it's near 600, but still pretty terrible. What's your reaction? Is it no duh? Are you surprised? What do you think?
I'm not surprised. I mean, if you think back to Napster And when the internet really got going for us, remember the dial-up? And when the conversation about things that are pirated first started, it was like, oh, we're in a new frontier of theft. And it's highly unfortunate, and it really sucks. I mean, I'm sure there's numbers out there about Endgame being pirated or something, but it really breaks my heart that the first like Black Widow film was the most pirated. I'm like, come on. It's very disappointing because I get that some people can't afford to go to the movies. I get that. But if people really knew, it's not just like, oh, well, they got their billions. Because I've talked to people who like to pirate stuff. That's their mentality is, well, they got their billions. Did you see them on the red carpet? They were wearing a dress that cost as much as my house. But if you think about the little people, and not so little people that make this happen, the set designers, the visual effects, the grip, the electrical. We just went through this where we were learning about the strike, the IATSE strike, and how so many people, they're sleeping in their cars because they don't have enough time to go home. You guys, pirating is not as cool as you think it is. So many people work very, very hard, and not everyone on the movie set is getting millions. So who cares if I pirate it? It really hurts the industry. It's really inconsiderate, and whether you like to think of it or not, it's theft, and it's not cool.
And it does also put a whole new spin and perspective on the Scarlett Johansson lawsuit.
It really does.
Because now it adds a new dimension. Because when Scarlett Johansson was saying, you putting it on Disney Plus cost me X amount of dollars, everybody just thought in terms of, oh, the lost box office due to what people got on Disney. But her point was also, no, by putting it on Disney Plus, you open it up to 20 million copies worth of pirated downloads because they got a pure 4K, and that also hurt me. So it kind of puts her lawsuit, which she won.
Yeah, and like you said, the quality's good. It's not, I mean, we can't help Shaky McShakester in the front row. I think I told you when I saw Spider-Man, somebody legit used the flash.
Oh, that's right.
On the screen when the second Spider-Man viewing I saw, and they had no shame. But I'm like, no, this is a good quality copy. And I get her point of view. You put me out there with a great copy for pirators to just go for it. You didn't give it a chance. So I really I understood, but I really am feeling the effects of her lawsuit. And I'm even more so like, good for you, girl, that you did it. And good for you, girl, that you won.
It is a problem they're going to have to. I mean, look, streaming is a big thing, but it's a big problem that they're going to have to deal with, not just for day and date release movies, but for everything that they do.
Have you heard of any solutions?
No.
Like some sort of filter that
the industry
encoded.
The industry has tried so many different types of encoding and like what's it called? DRM. Stuff, digital rights management stuff. There's always ways around it.
That first CinemaCon that we went to, wasn't Sony like experimenting with that camera that faces the audience and then detecting whenever a cell phone is something like that, right? It was called like Eye in the Sky or something like that.
In theater, they came up with, because in a lot of screenings that I go to, now all screenings that I go to now, there's always security with these special cameras that if you have a camera lens anywhere on you, it'll glow like on their cameras. The security will go and throw you out. That addresses some of the problems of piracy in a theater. But what about the piracy of the 4K that you're getting streamed onto your thing for your paid service, and then you take that and put that online? That's a different thing. And a lot of companies have experimented with a lot of different digital rights management. And it feels like every time a new DRM comes out, 5 minutes later, there's a crack for it. And people know how to do it. So it's going to be a challenge they're facing moving forward. Anyway, guys, the question for you is, what do you think about this? There's no way Black Widow lost $600 million, but they did lose in the hundreds of millions about that. Anyway, how do you guys feel about all that? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.